Odyssey and the Iliad, Homer's epics. They're obviously very old. There's obviously a lot to talk about with these as far as storytelling goes. But they also give us the origins of some literary devices that we're familiar with. You guys, I know you know this, but a simile is a literary device. It's often used in poetry, but it's definitely something you see in all types of writing. But a simile is when you make a comparison between two things using the words like or as. So now, of course, I can't think of one, but when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, comparing the shape of the moon or the full moon and a full pizza, which now I want, so I might have to get delivery here in a bit. The Odyssey is chock full of similes. We want to make the things that are happening relatable to people. So if I'm telling the story, if I'm Homer and I'm wandering and I'm telling the story, I want everybody to know what I'm talking about whenever I talk about a monster or talk about Odysseus' feats of strength or things like that. So the reason that we need to talk about similes is because the Odyssey goes further. It introduces something called an epic simile, or sometimes you'll hear a Homeric simile after Homer. This first appears in the Iliad and the Odyssey and has since appeared again and again throughout history. There is another level of simile, an epic simile. So just like I can tell you a story, and it's just a story, I can then tell you an epic story, and it implies that there's this huge increase in action or adventure or drama or whatever. An epic simile is the same thing. It's a simile with more. So, you guys remember Scylla from Scylla and Charybdis? Scylla is the monster on the rocks that Odysseus steers his ship towards. And she comes down, she's like a hydra, like a dragon. She starts picking guys off with her heads and eating them alive and everything like that. And in the Odyssey, there's a moment where Homer compares Scylla to a angler, or an angler being a fisherman or a fisher person, somebody who angles to catch fish. So, while they're being attacked by Scylla, Homer says, just as an angler poised on a jutting rock. That's how Scylla looks to them. So she has her long necks and her heads, and she's over there on the rock, like casting off, like you do with a fishing rod. She's doing it with her head, like whoosh, 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 grabbing Odysseus' guys. That's a simile. Scylla is like an angler. Sorry, Scylla is just as an angler. Now, an epic simile is going to go further. I'm going to read it to you, and hopefully you see what I mean. Just as an angler poised on a jutting rock flings his treacherous bait in the offshore swell, whips his long rod, hook sheathed in an oxhorn lure, and whisks up little fish he flips on the beach break, writhing, gasping out their lives, so now they writhed, gasping as Scylla swung them up her cliff, and there at her cavern's mouth she bolted them raw down. So no, she's not just a fisher. She's not just an angler. Now we're talking and we're showing more about what it looks like when you're watching somebody fish. So she whips her long rod. She puts her heads down. She like whoosh, whoosh, gets the guys, and then she brings them back, just like you would if you're fly fishing or something, pulls them back off the boat, just like they're little bait fish or little minnows or something. Homer is taking this comparison and building it into a little poem, into more imagery, to really sell home what this looks like to folks. It happens still today, as I mentioned. You'll see it in fiction and poetry and things like that. But I put some pop songs together because that's what I do. I'm obsessed with music, as you know. And I want to point out one in particular that's pretty famous. You're going to have to take my word for it if you're not familiar with it. But Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan is one of the most famous and beloved songs of all time, at least in rock. It is super influential. When it came out, it blew people's minds. I've linked it here in the Google Classroom assignment. You should take a listen to it. It's a great song. You don't have to like it, but it's important in the history of pop music. And it is built around this idea of somebody. It's pop music's first diss track is what it is. Bob Dylan wrote this about some very specific people, and he was comparing them to jesters and kings and queens, and like he was calling them out. And in the chorus, he says, how does it feel? How does it feel to be on your own, with no direction home, a complete unknown, like a rolling stone? The simile is backwards. He doesn't say like a rolling stone, you're unknown and on your own. He says it on your own, with no direction home, a complete unknown, like a rolling stone. That's your simile. So what Dylan is doing here is he's taking the idea of you are like a rolling stone, which is an old phrase. We don't say it much anymore, but that would have been an insult back then. People would have gotten that. And now he's building on it. He's like, you're a rolling stone because you're on your own. You have no direction home. You're a complete unknown. And then the whole kiss off is like, how does that feel? You know, he's really laying on the diss here. It's great. Again, great song. Take a listen. And has been very influential to a variety of musicians and lyricists. I have a couple other examples you can pop open. We got some from Lord Royals. The whole chorus is an epic simile comparing what she thinks songs on the radio are like to luxury. So, you know, every song's like gold teeth, Grey Goose, tripping in the bathroom, bloodstains, ball gowns, trash in the hotel room. That's what she thinks music is as she's launching her career in first single. So she does that in the chorus. There's another song I really like. Again, have it here in the video. Check it out. The video is kind of wacky, but it's called Common People by Pulp. I love it. Hopefully you guys do too. The lead singer here, Jarvis Cocker, wrote a few epic similes, and the chorus itself is one. You'll never live like common people. You'll never do what common people do. You'll never fail like common people. You'll never watch your life slide out of you and then dance and drink because there's nothing else to do. He's saying you're never going to be a common person because this, and this. That's what an epic simile does. It takes the comparison and gives you more reasons for it through imagery. So what I want you to do is, I have a couple documents in the Google assignment. One is a selection of epic similes from the Odyssey itself. This is stuff that I think we've read most of these in class already, most of them. And I also have these examples for you to look at from the songs as well as their videos if you want to listen to how they're used and how well these flow and how it's supposed to be very poetic or kind of roll off the tongue. And then I have a worksheet in there I'd love for you to give it a try. I have an example in there as well to show you how to do it, but what you're going to do is choose an adjective, cold, hot, warm, funny, one of the ones I have listed there, and write a simile. So, as round as a, or as funny as a, or cold like, something like that. You got to make the simile. And then I want you to expand on it in an epic simile. I want you to keep going, give me more imagery, and take it from just a little short phrase to some bigger feeling or emotion or way to hit me home with it. Good luck. It's tough, but give it a try. If not, at least listen to the tunes. Hopefully these assignments aren't too killer and that this is working as best it can.